During the 1,000,000 years or more that man has lived on Earth, he has learned to adapt to his environment in many ways. He has always had a need to communicate, but for many centuries, most everything that was learned in one lifetime was lost for lack of a universal technology to retain and store knowledge. This is the story of the fascinating history of man's effort to communicate with other men in other times and in other places with the printed word. About 1000 BC, man began retaining his learned experiences on paper. It started in Egypt and the making of papyrus paper. The plants that grew along the Nile River were used for many things, but their real importance was in the manufacture of paper, which resulted in the only method of conveying pictographs and written words for centuries. The fibrous cores of papyrus stems were cut into strips and then overlaid in a crosshatch pattern and pounded together into a single sheet. After the sheet was dried and burnished, scribes used reed pens to write picture words on its surface. The Romans, beginning their mighty ascent to power, drove the Etruscans from Rome about 500 BC, but not before they acquired from them an alphabet that is the basis of our present-day language, actually a combination of Semitic, Greek, and Etruscan letters, then modified for the Roman language. This Roman alphabet inscription, carved into a column in the Forum in 114 AD, has profoundly influenced topography and design to the present day. Centuries later, the Roman Empire crumbled, plunging all Europe into the so-called Dark Ages. Bringing order and unity to the civilized world was the monarch Charlemagne, king of the Franks. He is credited with preserving for posterity much of the knowledge and culture of the great civilizations of Greece and Rome through the painstaking craftsmanship of the scholarly Alcuin and his monastic scribes. At the same time, but in another part of the world, the Chinese had started to print the oldest existing book in history, the Diamond Sutra. The pages of the book were printed by block printing, a technique developed during the Tang Dynasty in 868 AD. Unknown to the rest of the world, the Chinese had pioneered the art of printing centuries before Europeans began experimenting with the printed word. Their ink, of excellent quality, was made from lamp black, while their paper, made from tree bark, rags, and old fishing nets, was in common use during the Han Dynasty, which began in 202 BC. Although the first paper mill in Europe was established by the Moors in Spain about 1150, the earliest Christian mill was founded in Fabriano, Italy in 1270. For centuries, producers of fine watermarked papers for the popes. In the manufacturing process, the Fabriano papermakers made pulp from partially decomposed balls of cotton and linen. After washing, the cloth was pounded with stone or iron pestles and then pulpified. The batman's skillful stroke enabled the fibers in the pulp to integrate uniformly as the water drained away. After pressing and drying, it formed a single sheet of paper. One user of such paper was Johann Gutenberg, who is generally miscredited with the invention of movable type. The Chinese had invented and used movable type as early as the 8th century. Gutenberg's contribution to communications was that he was the first to successfully combine all the necessary printing components: typecasting, ink, manufacturing, punch cutting, composing, and the use of press and paper into a single workable system. The technical efficiency reached by Gutenberg in 1450 was not materially surpassed until the beginning of the 19th century. Gutenberg's accomplishments have achieved everlasting fame. Nicholas Jensen, a Frenchman, emerged as one of the greatest masters of type design, printing, and publishing the world has ever known. His most notable contribution was the creation of a superb new typeface, Roman. The clarity, beauty, and lasting utility of Jensen's Roman typeface was a monumental gift to the graphic arts. Possibly the greatest figure in publishing history was Aldus Manutius, who in 1495 established a printing firm in Venice known as the Aldine Press. Manutius wanted to make it possible for all people to read Greek and Latin classics. He published pocket-sized works of Aristotle, Euripides, Plato, and Plutarch, and made them available at low cost. History's next publisher to achieve genuine fame was Geoffrey Torrey, an author, scholar, type designer, printer, and extraordinary wood engraver. Today, he's best known for a series of magnificent wood engravings he designed for the Book of Hours, a religious work by Simon de Coligny in 1525. Extremely loyal to his country, Torrey tried to discourage French authors from using Greek and Latin in their works instead of the French language. Almost a century later, 7 years after the death of William Shakespeare, a publication of the works of the renowned playwright elevated the English language to an eminence never again surpassed. The incomparable bard was immortalized in an ambitious project called the First Folio, published in London between 1620 and 1623. It contained 36 plays with dedications to the Earls of Pembroke and Montgomery, and commendatory verses by Ben Jonson. The natural progression of printing in English spread to the American colonies, and in 1735 resulted in one of the most sensational court trials in history. John Peter Zenger, an American publisher and printer, was the defendant in a case which established the first significant victory for freedom of the press in America. Zenger was accused of printing libelous statements about the English colonial government. His attorney argued that the allegations were true, therefore not libelous. Zenger was freed and thereby established the truth as the criterion in all future libel suits. One of America's greatest patriots, in addition to being a framer of the Declaration of Independence, a statesman, skilled scientist, author, and editor, was also a publisher and printer, Benjamin Franklin. Beloved among his many writings was a series of Poor Richard's Almanacs, published between 1732 and 1758, in quantities as large as 10,000, on hand presses, basically the same method used by Gutenberg 300 years earlier. The volumes quickly gained a wide and appreciative audience, and their wisdom exerted a persuasive influence on the American character. Shortly after the Americas won the independence from England, a playwright named Alois Senefelder stumbled upon an incredible discovery in Munich, Germany. The result of a pure and simple accident, Senefelder wrote out a laundry list with a grease pencil on a piece of stone. Curiosity led him to further experimentation and the ultimate discovery that it was not necessary for a printing surface to be raised. The greasy image accepted ink, while the damp stone rejected it. It was this discovery that led to what we know today as lithography. Near the end of the 17th century, William Blake achieved graphic arts fame by engraving with artistic elegance a number of religious books. Among his most notable etchings were The Day of Judgment, Jerusalem, and the Book of Job. Blake's wife, Catherine, was his constant companion as he etched and wrote books describing visions he claimed to have had. He was regarded by his contemporaries as being quite eccentric, but time has brought about an appreciation of his graphic and poetic genius. History's first paper-making machine, a crude, crank-operated model, was invented by the Frenchman Louis Robert. Acquiring rights to the machine in 1803, Henry and Celie Fordrinier, prominent paper manufacturers, set out to develop the merits of the Robert machine. Although they carried the idea through to practicality, they ruined themselves financially in the process. The same basic paper-making processes used by the Fordriniers are used today for the mass production of paper. In 1814, after centuries of using hand-press techniques for printing, one sheet at a time, Frederic Koenig invented a steam-power-driven press that revolutionized the printing industry. The machine was developed in secrecy because of the opposition of labor. Sold to the London Times, it enabled the publication to drastically reduce printing and composing costs. Today's entire line of high-speed printing machines stem from Koenig's efforts. Although stereotyping had been perfected many years before, it had fallen into disuse. Charles Mahan, 3rd Earl of Stanhope, a versatile scientist, mathematician, and inventor, perfected the art of stereotyping from plaster molds. His process offered many advantages where books such as Bibles, school books, prayer books were being constantly reprinted. The process greatly reduced the wear of type and the expense of keeping type standing for future use. In 1851, the first of an illustrious line of job presses called the Franklin Press, standard equipment for commercial printers for years, was put on the American market by George Phineas Gordon. Gordon presses have appeared in various forms since the inventor's early model and still are operating as efficiently as they did more than 100 years ago. The printing of photographs as opposed to line drawings had long posed a problem to printers throughout the world. A significant breakthrough occurred in 1878 when Frederick Ives perfected the techniques of photo engraving, a method of breaking down the photograph to be reproduced into tiny dots of varying sizes. The image to be reproduced is photographed through a ruled glass screen onto a sensitized plate. It is then etched into relief on a copper plate for letterpress printing. Ives is also credited with being the first to perfect the 3-color halftone process. The so-called Industrial Revolution continued to snowball when on July 3rd, 1886, Ottmar Mergenthaler, a German immigrant, demonstrated to the New York Tribune a machine which today is regarded as one of the 10 greatest inventions of all time, the linotype. When an operator touches the linotype keys, pieces of brass punched with alphabet and numerical characters are brought together into a line, automatically spaced. Type for nearly every newspaper in the world, and most books, is composed by Mergenthaler's remarkable invention. In spite of the Industrial Revolution, standards of design and printing had reached new lows for the century. But in 1890, however, William Morris, an Englishman, led the revival of fine printing. Morris's printing was characterized by rich blocks of black type on gleaming white handmade paper, his masterpiece being an edition of Chaucer. Morris today is known as the father of modern printing. About a year after the invention of the linotype, Tolbert Tunstall, an American, received a patent on his composing machine, the monotype. Here, the keyboard operation is separated from the actual manufacture of type, with the major advantage over the linotype being easily corrected characters within a given line and not having to recast the whole line. At the turn of the century, a second accidental discovery occurred in the history of graphic arts. Ira Rubel, a New Jersey lithographer, in feeding paper into his press, noticed that when a sheet failed to feed, The image was transferred onto the impression and would appear with superior detail on the back of the next sheet. Incorporating this transfer or offset idea, Rubel introduced his offset press to the printing world. The contributions of Frederic W. Goudy to the history of graphic arts were no accidents. Goudy was one of the most prolific of American type designers. In 1903, Goudy established his village press assisted by his wife. During his lifetime, he designed more than 100 new typefaces, among them Kennerly, Old Style, considered by some experts the most beautiful since the works of the master William Caslin in the 18th century. Today, the printed word is expressed and executed with technological advancements never dreamed possible even a few years ago. And as the need for man to communicate continues, the technology of printing, however advanced it will become, will continue to be fundamental to communications.